Hey, how you doing? This is Cory Hunter. Welcome to another episode. Once again, and I grabbed the clip from Quick Takes with Tom and Jake. Go over there, like, subscribe, share, show them some love. A lot of dope stuff they got going on, as always, all right? Real entrepreneurs, real filmmakers. What else is there to say, right? If you're checking me out, more than likely, you can gain some wisdom from them. So yeah, man, without further ado, let's dive straight into the clip and keep it moving and pushing from there, right? So let's get into it.
I had set experience just being on your guys' sets, but not like, I don't even want to say I had like even the level of like a PA. Like I just kind of went to set, and anything that Jake personally needed, I just made sure that he was like stress free. So I kind of knew like the basics of it. I knew how it like was supposed to flow. So me being like the only site rep, like the OG site rep for Honeymoon, and not really knowing like what rules I need to have in place for my studio to like stay successful and like be a clean place people want to come, was just kind of like learning on the job. And so I will say I was very timid in the beginning, and you know me, I don't have a timid personality, but I just didn't know how to properly approach, like, how do I tell people I really don't want you to do that in my home?
You know what's the funniest thing? Like film crews, because I'm literally that person. I'm the person showing up to a location and utilizing it for a space, like as a filmmaker. And I feel like filmmakers, no shade, like are really disrespectful. Like when they pull up to a location, I think it's like kind of instilled in their brains where if they're showing up to a white psych studio or showing up to something, like they're thinking about the vision, the shot list, making their day. They're not concerned about putting booties on or not nicking the wall, because they're just used to like muscling their stuff through. So like when you have a really old house, or mind you, if you guys are listening or watching and are thinking about making a space, just know that it's going to get thrashed on. And it's a hard 100%. Pill to swallow, especially with y'all's vintage furniture and stuff. It's like, don't stand on that. But like people as filmmakers, it's not even malicious. They just they're not thinking about preserving the space. They're thinking about getting that close up. And it's like, dude, you can't stand on my couch. Like, get off.
You know I mean? I think like the lesson that I learned is...
Boom. So I think I'm going to stop it there. If you want to see the full clip, go over to Quick Takes with Tom and Jake. A lot of dope content there and on the other platforms. All right. So we're just talking about filmmakers in respect to locations, and in a lot of cases, they just don't have any. As cast and crew, what's going on? Let's explore why there's like a lack of respect for locations. Bottom line is, when you go there, you have a vision, and you're like, okay, I want to catch. You're trying to film wherever you're trying to film, whether it's a script, a music video, a narrative, whatever the case is. You're trying to finish your project, get your project completed. So, unfortunately, it's a lot of things that goes wrong on set, before set, whatever the case may be. So, you probably walk into there with pressure, right? So now you're at your location, and you gotta get your equipment in there, right? So if the big boys that got a van with grips and stuff, right, and C-stands, and you're trying to get them in a home or the location. These is like metal objects that bangs against walls. So yeah, it happens, right? Mistakes happen. But you're working against time, right? You only have the location for a certain amount of time. So you're trying to get your equipment in so you can get your equipment out. You're trying to get your equipment in so that you can film and do what you need to do. But you're also racing against time, right? If you don't get it done today, you can't come back tomorrow. Not without paying for that location, right? How much is that location, right? Is it $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $1,000 an hour? Is it $2,000 an hour? Like, this is the stuff that's going through the producer's head. We got to get in and get out, right? Bottom line, we got to get in and get out. We also want to catch the shots we need to catch. Sometimes we don't have the equipment and the things that we need. We have to make do of what's available to us, right? So, yeah, sometimes we do got to stand on the chair, right? Sometimes we do got to tape stuff to the windows. We got to make the set the way that we need the set to be so that the vision looks good in frame, right? Sometimes because we're rushing, because we're not aware of how fragile things are, right? And for a bunch of other reasons, things get destroyed. So what happens is, a chair might get broken because you stood on it. A few dents might happen because the C-stand hit the walls, right? You might get scratches on your floors. Like, these are things that happen because it's rough. Like, the people, we operating our equipment roughly. We're working against time. We're trying to make things happen, right? So these are natural things. With that said, I know I always personally try to move with finesse. I try to move with as much respect as I possibly can, right? I know one of the big things is quiet, right? Because of maybe the neighborhood or the neighbors or whatever the case may be, right? But then you have to think about that, right? If you're at home and then all of a sudden somebody's making a whole bunch of noise, you might get annoyed, right? But now if you are the filmmaker and you coming in and they're like, look, man, you need to be quiet because somebody's sleeping next door. You're like, yo, I just now spent $1,000 to have everybody here in this place to get this thing done. I'm not about to be quiet, right? But you don't want to be rude. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, and you're just going to do what you're going to do anyway, because it has to get done. And if somebody's going to have a lousy sleep, so be it, right? Like, you're not gonna lose sleep because you're not gonna have a problem looking at yourself in the mirror because the neighbors complaining that they couldn't get their nap in. It's just not gonna happen. Not when you spent all this money. What you will have a problem is looking at yourself in the mirror because you told your cast and crew that the shot not important because the neighbor's sleeping. The shot matters. At that moment, the shot is the only thing that matters, right? And you got to get your shot. So sometimes you move like that. You move rude. You're moving like you don't care. But, you're being aggressive in the things you need, right? Sometimes people be like, look, man, you can't be here. You can't film here. Security pop up if you're in public places and stuff. We go about it and we do it anyway, right? But, yes, it seems very disrespectful, but it's also, it's a fine line, right? Especially when you're going into people's homes and you're filming there, you should respect them as to the fullest extent because they're opening up their home to you. And it's not always a home. Sometimes it's just a location, right? Sometimes you paid to use a certain location. Have respect for that location, right? Let's not be absent-minded, right? Let's not put the house on fire to get the shot and then walk away and be like, that's their problem. Like, let's think about the things that we're doing before we do it because, we want to spread goodness out here. We don't want that bad karma to come back for us. But it's just not the right thing to do. Just like you're trying to get your shot and you're worried about your project because you have plans for that. This location is part of their business. And you don't want to go and just dump on other people's businesses, right? It's just not right? You get mad when clients don't want to pay you your rates, right? So, pay the location, their rates, take care of their space, catch the shots you're supposed to catch. You know what I'm saying? And people's pretty flexible, people's pretty reasonable. Ask permission for certain things. Move with kindness, right? Because we get a lot further with kindness than by just saying, look, I'd rather apologize later. Like, that's not cool. I'll apologize later. Like, that's a terrible, what is it? Term to live by. Know what I'm saying? Because why? Why you have to do that? They know you're a filmmaker. If you go into spaces, they know what you're doing. They know the culture and the lingo, whatever the case may be. Just move with respect, right? Or rather just ask these questions before you go in there. Like, yo, this is what I'm trying to do. And be straight up. Look, man, I'm trying to film. This is what I need to do. This is what equipment I'm bringing. This is how many people I'm bringing. This is how much parking we taking up. Is that cool? If not, what solutions is out there? People want to take your money, so they will talk to you. That's just what it is. So yeah, man, I just thought this was dope. The rest of the podcast, the rest of the episode is dope. They really go into these spaces and how people treat these spaces and creating that space, and it's just really it's really dope to really get into that, to really see the other side of that. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. You're anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, right? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, until next time.